If not, I'm shouting it. Oh, there we go. There you go. Boom. Mason, you're amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you. Well, hey, we've been in a great series, the social dilemma, right? And looking at how technology, how social media impacts our life, right? And if you missed the past couple of weeks, go onto our website, go to our YouTube page, make sure you're caught up on the teachings that have been happening, because really we as a church, we're taking this dive into these areas that maybe we don't even realize how some of this stuff is affecting us. And we're looking at the good and the bad, right? We're not looking at just the negative stuff. And a problem with a series like this, for me personally, is that I can really focus on the negative stuff, right? I can just dig down deep on how bad all social media is or technology is, but the reality is, and I think we're mature enough and smart enough as a group here, that social media and technology come with both the wonderful and the challenging. Technology has drastically changed how we work, and we're going to be talking about that today. Work and retirement, right? It's kind of fitting for this weekend. Steve, you must have planned that. I don't know, but that's what we're going to be talking about. And these areas of technology and social media has just changed everything for us. Even in the last 10 years, it's drastically changed how we do things. And there are some wonderful things about it. It has enhanced our lives in so many ways and unique ways. And I'm able to communicate with people that I know and don't know and reach people in such unique ways that I was never able to do before. I use technology, and I'm sure you use technology every day. And in many ways, it's made my life so much easier. As you know, I play guitar, right? I help lead worship here. And it used to be that I'd have to figure out a song if I wanted to play it. Now I get on the computer, I put in the song, and it comes immediately to me. Whatever key I want it to be in. And then I can go on YouTube and find 40 videos on how to play that song if I'm struggling. I mean, it is so much easier now to learn how to play things and to do things. You know, I have a Bible app on my phone. Do you guys have Bible apps on your phone? It's phenomenal. I have 40 different translations that I can get and look at in the Greek and the Hebrew, and I'm just, oh, this is amazing, right? I got devotionals. I have, we can text you right now. You can jump in, and we will text you encouraging verses and words of encouragement to you right now if you want to. We can talk to Steve about that after the service. But it's just made things so much easier. There's so many things that come with it. YouTube is my new best friend. Right? Is that any of you? Do you love YouTube? I love YouTube. I can learn so much from YouTube. I can listen to the greatest pastors and sermons online right now. So if you think this one's horrible, go afterwards on YouTube and find one that fits you, right? I mean, there's so much out there. I can listen to different podcasts and get different perspectives on life that I would never have been able to get before. It's amazing. And if I want to hear a different topic, I can look at 50 to 100 different articles on that topic, and I can read through it or listen to something. I have audio books. I can read books. Technology is amazing in so many different ways. I can take college classes. I can cook an amazing dinner for my wife and have step-by-step instructions by a famous chef. Look at that. This summer, my son and I bought a really cheap truck for like $500, okay? It was great, and it's a beater, right? But here's the thing, it needed a new transmission. And would I take that to an auto mechanic? Heck no, I got YouTube. I can fix this. I don't know anything about cars, but I know that I can learn it on YouTube. And I watch all the videos, and my son's super mechanically inclined. And guess what? We pulled that transmission out, and we put one in with some help of some friends and YouTube. And let me tell you, I'm now a mechanic. So you need anything fixed? I got you. I'll just go on YouTube and figure it out, right? No, I'm not a mechanic, but YouTube helped me figure these things out. And it was great. It was fun. And I look at technology has enhanced our church here at FPCL. And in 2020, we had to close the doors, as many of you know. And we didn't have any streaming services for online. And we quickly turned it around really fast so that we could gather as a church, at least online. We were able to have Sunday services. We were able to have Zoom, Bible studies. We were able to check in on each other through technology. Right? We still were able to gather together, although it was online. And in fact, if you're on a line right now in the chat room and you're not part of this local area, you're from a different city, a different state, I want you to put in your city and state, right? Where are you at? We want to know where you're at. 2020 separated us physically, but technology kept us together. And I was reading an article from Business of Apps, and it said December of 2019, Zoom had 10 million users. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. You know what it was in June of 2020? 300 million users. That's how much they jumped in a 6-month span. It's amazing. 2020 changed our work environment completely. Our offices shut down, and now we're working remotely from home. And many people have done that in the past, but now it's almost everybody, right, is working from home. My wife has experienced this, right? She used to drive into Walnut Creek every single day of the week, making the 45-minute to hour drive. Now she works from home, and she's not going back to the office, even though it's opened up, because she is so much more productive in her office. She no longer, she doesn't have to make that drive anymore. She doesn't have to sit and have somebody come by her office as she's trying to get work done and have a 20-minute conversation because they just wanted to catch up, which is great, and she loves that, but at the same time, that's 20 minutes to a half hour that she could have been working, right? And she loves working at home. I don't even go into the office anymore, right? Like, she's productive. She's fired up. And I love to get coffee with people, right? I love doing that. You ever want to grab coffee? Let me know. But I'll get there a little early, right? Because I'll get there 5-10 minutes early because I'll be able to check my emails real quick. I'll be able to fire off a few. I'll respond to some texts. I'll check in on some people in that 5 to 10 minutes time. Technology has enhanced how I'm able to communicate with people, and it's enhanced your life as well. It's so easy, so straightforward, so efficient, and I love how quickly I can get things done. Now, I'm not a huge social media guy. I mean, I use it, I check on things and stuff like that. I don't post too much, but I run a nonprofit. And if you don't know, I run this nonprofit called Aruka. We have a men's transitional home right here in Livermore, and we help guys who are coming out of prison, out of homelessness. And it's a 1-year program where we, hopefully, at the very end, if it all works out the way it's supposed to, they're self-sufficient, living on their own. I'm able to communicate through marketing, through social media at very low cost, the different stories that are out there of what's happening with Aruka. I'm able to interview guys, and I'm able to tell their story online. And it's reaching people not just in this small circle that I have, but in a very larger circle all over the world. I'm getting texts and messages of saying, hey, that was a great story. It's far-reaching of what we have now. Just this last week, one of our guys who had been with us, Jeff, great guy, he'd been with us for a year. He's got the job, he got the community, and he got an apartment. He'd been in prison most of his life. He's 67 years old. And he was able to get an apartment. We were able to help him get all these kind of things. But here's the thing, you got to fill an apartment, right? A 1-bedroom apartment. And he's never had one. He's never lived on his own. And so he goes, well, I'll just go and buy stuff. And I go, whoa. Let's just put out a list to people. Let's put it out to our community, see what happens. And so we sit down and we write out all this list, and it's a big old long list, and I did a little quick newsletter with a picture of me and Jeff, and I posted something on Facebook with the list. I'm telling you, I'm not even kidding, less than 24 hours, every single thing on that list was taken care of. I was blown away myself. He was super blown away that people actually care about a guy who, got out of prison a year ago. But that was wonderful. It was leveraging social media and technology for the good. And I think that is part of it. I think technology and social media in the workplace really depends on how we use it and what we use it for. How do we leverage these things that are in our lives now? Because there's a flip side of the coin that affects us. You know, we're a productive society. I was raised by parents who were very hard workers. My dad worked full time. My mom, she worked, and she had 2 jobs, and she was raising us, right? Like, they're both raising us. You know, and my dad wanted to remodel the house, and so he'd work all day and then come home at night. And then I was a kid, and I wanted to help him, so I tried to work with him. I was probably more in the way than anything. But he had this saying, there's only so much daylight, Josh. There's only so much daylight. I'd hear it all the time, and basically it was like, hey, stop screwing around. Get to work, right? Because there's only so much daylight that we have to get this work done. And here's the thing. My dad duped me and my brother because once the sun went down, he just brought out spotlights, right? I mean, we kept on working. Like, we never stopped working. I'm like, Dad, the sun is down. Come on, we're supposed to stop. No, we got these spotlights. We're ready to go. But I passed that work ethic that my parents gave to me to my kids. They are hard workers. They have great work ethic. I'm super proud of them on that. But, we pass these responsibilities. But the problem is that with all the wonderful things about technology, it has created an accessibility problem. Technology has made us more accessible than we've ever been. It used to be where your boss or your client or the people that you serve, really, once you left the scene, it was harder to get a hold of you. And now it's really easy. I give my number out to everybody, right? And accessibility, if you don't have good boundaries, you can get in trouble. You can go from what should be a 40, 50 hour week and it becomes a 60, 80 hour week without you even knowing it. Oh, it's just a text. It's just, I can just respond to it. It'll be really quick. Oh, it's just a quick email, honey. I just got to work on this one little thing real quick. And what should be really quick in a few minutes turns into 30 to 40 to an hour of time. And soon you're working these long hours because of the accessibility. Your boss is texting you, hey, what do you think about this at 9:45 at night? I don't want to think about that at night. Thanks a lot, Steve. No, I'm just kidding. He does not do that to me. He does not do that. And I'm the boss at the nonprofit, so I'm probably doing that to my guys, right? And I have created in my own life, and I'm going to be super vulnerable with you all right now. I am not good at this. I'm horrible at this. And it's caused burnout, and it's caused issues in my family, and it's caused all kinds of stuff because I'm very, very responsive. And I tease Steve, and Steve kind of pokes fun about his emails, right? Don't ever try to email him to get a hold of him, right? He doesn't check his email. And he doesn't care, and that's okay, right? And I poke fun at him, but because I'm totally the opposite. I want to get every email I can done throughout the day. Now, he has really good boundaries. I don't. He's doing it right. Well, maybe, but he's doing it right. See, I have like it drives me nuts. It's totally like, oh, that's hard for me to do. But I love that he goes and he puts it, when he walks through the door, he puts his phone down and doesn't look at it. I have my phone on me all the time. I keep it by my bed, just in case somebody needs something, somebody needs help. I worked at a church as a pastor of care, and it was Cornerstone, and lots of people, thousands of people that we're ministering to, and we dealt with all of the emergencies out of the church. Running lots of volunteers, lots of things, a lot of different moving pieces, and I called it the 100-mile-an-hour train. And in some ways, it was beautiful. In some ways, it was really harmful for me personally. They finally said after 10 years, I get a sabbatical. I said, that's great. Thank you so much. Josh, decompress. And I go, okay, well, how do I do that? I don't do that. I'm running at such a high pace. And so I started to learn how to do that. I was taking trips and spending time with the Lord and prayer, and just slowly I started to decompress and lower myself. And I thought I was at really low and totally relaxed, and all of a sudden, I hit another level. And I thought, oh, that's the bottom, right? And then I hit another level. I mean, I didn't realize how messed up I was. And finally, I was at this place of like, oof, I've never felt this way, right? And it was good. It was really good. I was in Alaska with my son, my brother, and my dad, and my father-in-law. He was living up there and had a boat, and we were fishing and catching fish and crab. And I get off the boat. I didn't have my phone on. I had shut down all my emails. I wasn't answering texts unless it's from Kelly or the kids. I mean, I completely got off the grid the best that I could. But there was a voicemail on there. And it was from this lady that I knew. And for some reason, I didn't just ignore it, I just answered. I listened to it. And it was a major crisis. Major crisis. And all of a sudden, my mind is firing of, okay, I can get her connected here. I can get her connected there. I can get her a part of, this pastor can come alongside her. This group can come in here. We will help in this situation. It's going to be okay. I will give her a call. I'll spend the time. I'll do this. And I started feeling all that I had not felt for weeks started building up in my mind, and my mind was going a mile a minute, and my heart felt like it was coming out of my chest. That is not healthy. And that is what many of us, not just in being a pastor, that's a lot of our work environments, and it's not healthy. We have to learn how to set boundaries in our lives, because that is not what God intended for us. To be doing good and then being burnt out and the anxiety levels that come with it. And we reap what we sow. Today's scripture reading comes out of Galatians 6, 7 through 10, and it says this. It says, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A person reaps what they sow. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows that to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have the opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially those who belong to the family of believers. We will reap what we sow." It's a saying that's been around for thousands of years. It's our agricultural metaphor, which means, hey, you sow or plant good seed or good things will come out of that harvest. But if you do the reverse, if you sow bad seed or bad things in your life, bad things will happen in your life. And usually it's said by somebody when you've totally blown it, and you've made a bad choice, and they say, well, you reap what you sow. It's like I told you so. You're like, hey, thanks for that wonderful knowledge there. I wish I had that before. But Paul is doing something very different. He's being proactive. He's not coming after the fact. He sits there and he tells the church of Galatia, he instructs them to do good for the community and in how they live in their daily lives, and the outcome overall will be good. The harvest will be good. But on the other side, the flip side of the coin, if you're selfish, if you're doing things for your own desires and sinful, then the outcome of your life will be, well, of little impact. In fact, it'll be only an impact of one. Me. You. And we have to think that really we have three phases of our lives, right? We've got this 0 to 18 phase, right, of being raised by parents and growing up and all that kind of stuff. And then kind of after that, we have this 20 to 65, right, of this work phase of life, right? Where we're working, raising families, all that kind of stuff. And then the last phase is that retirement phase of life until we finally pass on to be with the Lord. And the older that I get, the more that I want to live without regret. The more I want to make sure that I'm looking back on my life and I'm not regretting the things and how I lived my life. And I know that some of us will play that tape of regret in our lives a lot. And my hope and my encouragement to you is to have grace-filled eyes, soft hearts when you're looking back at the regrets of your life. God loves you incredibly. God is not ashamed of you, nor should you be ashamed of yourself because of God's great love for you. But I don't want to have many regrets when I'm at the end stage of my life. You know, the phase of life that we look back and don't want to have regret. You know, I don't want to look back on my life and have that and you know, be compassionate. And as I was preparing this teaching, it reminded me of this lady that I read. Her woman is Bronnie War. Do you know this lady? She's really cool. And she was a palliative care nurse for about 8 years. She walked alongside and cared for people. She lived in their homes as they were at an end of stage of life. About 12 weeks to a few days, she would come in. And she was a great listener. And she would come and listen to their stories. And she wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And here are the top 2. And I'm going to start off with number 2 because I found it interesting. She said, the first one is pretty obvious, right? I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And then Bronnie, she then says this quote. She says, this came from every male patient that she nursed. They missed their children's youth and their partner's companionship. Women also spoke of regret, but most of were from an older generation, and many of the female patients hadn't been breadwinners. All of the men I nursed deeply regretted spending so much of their lives on the treadmill of work existence. And the people she was dealing with didn't have the technology and the access that we do this day. I don't want to be so accessible in life where I'm going to be regretting that later on. The number one regret that Bronnie said that she found was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Bronnie then says, this was the most common regret of all. When people realize that their life is almost over and look back clearly on it, it is easy to see how many dreams have gone unfulfilled. Most people had not honored even a portion of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to the choices they had made or not made. Health brings a freedom very few realize until they no longer have it. Man, what do we do with this? I believe that we need to learn to number our days, wherever phase we are in. We got one shot at this thing, right? And what would happen if we started to live our lives with the mindset that our days are numbered? How would that change how we lived? What would we sow? What would we cut out of our life? And what would we pour more into? And there is great wisdom from those of the older generation to be poured into the younger generation. And I know I focus a lot of time on work, right? That phase of life. But how many of you are in phase 3, the retirement life? Raise your hand. Where are you at? Many of you. Yeah. I'm trying to get where you're at. That's good stuff. You know, the closer I get to retirement, and I'm a ways off, right? But the closer I get and the more I'm starting to try to prepare, what does this phase of life will look like? The best I can, right? And I think society, you know, they call it your golden years, right? Golden years. And you work so hard, and now it's time to play hard, right? Enjoy that fruit of the labor, right? And I think there's an element, absolutely, Go travel, go have fun, go enjoy yourself, right? Do the things you weren't able to do when you were working. I think that's good. I have a recreation background. I'm not against going on a trip and having fun. But here's the thing. You know, I mentioned that I'm a grandpa, right? I'm part of your club, you phase 3ers, right? Like I'm a grandpa. I love being a grandpa. And me and this buddy of mine, who's also a grandpa, started this grandpa life group with our spouses, and it's really cool. And the whole thing is this grandparenting group is how do we invest into our grandchildren? Not just financially, but and not just recreation and not just play, but how do we invest our faith? How do we invest coming alongside of them and showing them how to love people? How do we invest in them for the kingdom of God? I love it. I love the idea of it. That I'm not just this, hey, it's just grandpa. He's fun, right? But he's someone that lives a life that he would want to be an example of, right? My life as an example. And the thing that we're reading through this book is that the Bible never talks about retirement. It never says you're just to put up your feet once you hit a certain age and you say, well, that's it. I'm done. I've done my time, right? It actually speaks on pouring into the next generation after you, and the next generation after them, and the next generation after them. That's what the word of the Lord actually talks about, is this pouring into all the wisdom that you have. And yeah, I agree with society that this is your golden years. But the way I look at it is that these are nuggets of gold that you have to share with us as a younger generation. And we need your wisdom. Yes, the culture has changed. The way things get done has absolutely changed from when you were 20 through 50, right? Things are different in that way. But here's what's the same. The themes of life are the same. They don't change, the themes of life. And we're an older congregation. Look around. We're older. It's okay. That's a good thing. Think of the wisdom that is in this room. Think of what I need to glean, and Steve needs to glean. Dania needs to glean. We need to glean these things from you. So you should not be sidelined because you're in your retirement years. No, this is when you get to sow the most, and you have the most seed to actually sow. And the harvest is great for you that are in this phase. And so I want to encourage you to use the technology that is here. Use the technology. Learn it the best that you can so that you can communicate with us, a younger generation. Spend time with us. Grab a coffee with me. I'm begging you, right? I want to know your life story. We need help in that. And if you need help with technology, we have a younger generation that would love to come alongside of you and teach you these things so that you can be more of someone who actually gives himself in these different ways. To close, Paul and other writers of the Bible used imagery of our life like running a race. Corinthians 9, 24 through 27 says this, Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way that as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. Hebrews 12:1 says this, Therefore, since we surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that is so easily ensnares us. And let us run with the perseverance the race marked out for us. 2 Timothy 4:7. This is Paul's last letter, we believe, to Timothy. And he dies very shortly after this. It says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. That's my last breath. That's how I want to go out, saying that. That's how I want to run this race, and I want to encourage you to run the same race. We are fought the good fight. We have finished the race, and we have kept the faith. Whatever stage of life you are in right now, we are all running a race that Paul talks about. May we run with endurance. May we sow goodness and love. May we live a life without regret. And may we leverage technology in a way that helps us but does not hurt our relationships or ourselves. Amen.